Hi everyone. I am so excited to be on. It is, first of all, baking hot. I have the fan on, so my hair is blowing, not because I'm ready for a photo shoot, but because I need to keep cool and my phone shuts off when it's overheated. So I hope the fan can keep it cool. But today we have Ravneet, and I'm so looking forward to our conversation. Ravneet is really insightful when it comes to nutrition, and her outlook towards nutrition is absolutely amazing. She, oh, here she is. Let me bring her on. All about digging deep when it comes to food and understanding your relationship with food. Ravneet, how are you?
I'm good. Um, I've got a little person next to me, as is the case, summer holidays. Deepa, can you hear the fan in the background? Shall I turn it off?
I can't hear the fan, but can you hear my fan?
No.
Okay.
So thank you to anyone if they can hear it. Let us know in the comments.
I did I flipped it so hard my legs and I really ran it and
We have a gymnastics bar in the house for my little one.
That's nice.
He's a gymnastic boy. Um, I've literally been working out with them. So I'm like, whoa.
And I love that. I love that. A lot of people complain to me, I don't get time because my children won't give me the space or they're constantly around. It's just like work out with them.
Yeah.
I just put my yoga mat out and I do yoga, and sometimes my children will join me. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, here she goes again, but
It was from watching you that I decided that I should do that.
oh, thank you. Thank you.
I remember seeing, and I was thinking, like Sean's only small. He was really young then, and I thought, well, my youngest, he's more inclined. Like he really likes to get involved. He wants to. What's stopping me? And it feeds into the theme, Deepa, that we have an idea of what working out looks like, what healthy looks like, what an effective workout looks like,
Right.
and on mountains or in the garden or at the gym, no kids, no distraction. But we're working mums.
That's not my reality.
Yeah,
That's not my reality. My reality is that whilst my children are doing homework, I am working. Whilst I'm cooking, I'm on a Zoom call or a meeting. And even now, even I've warned them. I was like, look, I'm going on an Instagram live. Be very quiet when you use the bathroom if you need to come upstairs. Like, I have to give them a heads
I love
up.
that.
And they still barge in.
Yeah, like he's so proud. So I knew that I was in two minds about club. Um, I started my business because I wanted to be more present. I lost my brother-in-law to cancer. It was a wake-up call that if my days are limited, I want to be the healthiest, best version of myself for my kids, with my kids, but so I can have life experiences I want independent of them. So when I first started the business, it was so easy to get consumed, and you neglect things like cooking fresh, working out, things that are really integral to me as a person. So I can completely resonate with the women that say to you, like, I can't find time, because I've been there, even though the foundation of nutrition was built on better quality of life. It's only when we slow down, stop, step back, get out of the hustle, that we can make those changes. Because you could start the business with the perfect intention, but then it's easy to fall out of alignment because the manipulation out there is workouts are perfect, the business could be successful like this. What else is there? The hustle is the way to do things. Put the kids into clubs, this, and there's so much noise.
Yeah.
You're like a tumbleweed.
And you think it's because of this noise that we're disconnected and we don't eat intuitively as well?
Yeah. So for example, I had my gear on, I had my workout gear. I'm running a challenge. I wanted to make sure I did something today. And the day's getting on, getting on, getting on. I put in a timer for 15 minutes. That's it. I'm like, I'm going to do 15 minutes and then I'll have 15 minutes before jumping on with you.
Yeah.
God, in that 15 minutes, I went for it. Parkinson's law. So Parkinson's law is you will do the task within the time you allocate to it. If you give yourself 30 minutes, you will take 30. You give yourself 15, you'll do 15. You do yourself 5, you'll do 5. You know, right? Like,
Absolutely.
so I was like 15 minutes because I want to do specific things, squats, lunges, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be intense. It's very hot. He came in, he joined in, he opened up his gymnastics bar and he's trying to learn how to flip himself over. So I see him every day practicing. And wow, he got good. So that's why he ran in today. He's like, Mommy, I got even closer. And it's what we see and it's what they see and what you and I see, and we can disconnect from now, is you got to have the perfect Buddha bowl with the perfect colors, sitting alone, no screens, no phone. And in today's world, that's very difficult. So what happens if you set yourself that task and you don't reach it, Deepa? What does that woman feel?
Uh, like she's not good enough. She's not capable.
Why bother?
Self-esteem drops. Yeah, yeah.
When we don't think that we can do it and that, or that we can actually achieve it, we just give up. But we set the bar so high because of the media, marketing, diet industry, food industry, that it becomes easier to quit. Oh, I'll grab the book, my favorite book. Oh, my books are always near me. I love them. Hands up if anyone's read this book. It's so good.
Hands and feet up over here.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite, it's habit stacking.
Oh, oh, oh no, I've got a tantrum. Oh, I've got a child on tantrum. Sorry, go on.
Habit stacking, like when you go to
Yes.
the bathroom, for example, you're about to go into the shower, just quickly clean the toilet, wipe the sink down, boom,
Yes.
hit the shower. Yeah.
So I was going through because I'm graduating some clients today, like a group clients, and it says, like the law of least resistance. The easier you make it, the more likely you are to do it. If you go and sign up to a food plan and an exercise plan, but you're not accustomed to working out and eating healthy, and they are asking you to do so much. I saw a little heart in the screen. I love the little hearts, floating hearts. Your life has been quite sedentary. Your food is like oven takeaways, and that's not judgment, that's survival. There's something that you've been accustomed to doing. You've joined this plan. Is it going to feel easy or is it going to feel so hard?
It will feel challenging because it's a shift in your lifestyle.
Yeah. And sometimes if you don't have the appropriate hand holding through that, it's
You
so
fall off.
much easier to give up. And then it becomes like another notch on our belt of failure. Something else
Yeah.
that we didn't do good. Thanks for joining us, Aman. You've nailed it with habit stacking. The reason so many people try to initiate new eating habits and lose weight, like 95% of New Year's resolutions that don't come to fruition, that don't work, is because you go too hard, too fast. Oh, I see a comment. I see it.
Can I read it to you?
Yeah.
It's going to change it's going to put you in a different direction, but I think you'll appreciate it. How can people of color transition our diets when living in parts of the West diets west where fresh versions of agricultural foods are often not available?
I love that question. So, like, one of my favorite areas of research. There's a really good page focusing on South Asian health, and he really talks about. So we're not on our terrain. If you think that we are South Asians and we are born on a completely different terrain, and now we are living in the West. So when people talk about eat the rainbow, it's a very Western idea of eating colorful fruits and vegetables that are available to us in the UK or in the West. Now, we don't have as much access to what our ancestors would have eaten, but if you have physically immigrated and moved terrain, then it still serves you to eat to the new terrain, if that makes sense. So there's a theory, tend to your terrain. I've forgotten the guy's name, but as underscore she intended talks about this on her Instagram page. So even though I'm South Asian and I'm originally from Punjab, where my ancestors would have been eating different kind of grains, different milks, like buffalo milk, the fact that I now live in the UK, I should be having local Manuka honey because that's my local produce. So I can still go and shop at the farms, but to James Boston, if you can still apply cooking methodologies and use herbs, so dried herbs, or any kind of, like anything Italian cooking uses oregano, we use turmeric, haldi. So if we can still use those herbs with even vegetables or fruits that are grown locally, we can mesh the two together. So even though we're immigrants, we can still bring those two aspects together so we're not impacting our gut. So this all comes down to our gut and our gut microbiome. Does that make sense?
But in the UK, it's a struggle. Nothing's really produced here. So what do we eat?
You know, what was really interesting. So you know, Benita. She's immigrated to Australia, and she went shopping for like our traditional herbs that we would be using to cook, and it was so expensive. Like,
I can imagine.
ginger was so expensive. So in that situation, I would really definitely encourage people, buy frozen. Like, don't be afraid to buy cheaper alternatives if it's frozen, or like you get canned food, which is a lot more cheaper. So eating fresh is ideal. People think it's great, but when things are harvested and frozen, it's done so quickly that it retains a lot of the nutritional value.
I didn't know that.
So peas, frozen peas are a lot more nutritious than fresh peas that might have been transported on an aeroplane for 10, 20, 30, 40 hours.
I never thought of it that way. See, this is what I mean. It's like looking at things with a new light, because I've always criticized frozen food, like, oh my God, lazy people, frozen food, you know?
Yeah. Because people get the two. Processed doesn't always mean bad, because it's just gone through a process. So the pea has gone through a process of being harvested and frozen, and the process of being then frozen. But when we talk about, but it's still a whole food, so it's still in its whole food body self kind of intact. You can still see, you can still make out what it is. Thanks for the heart. Hi, Raj. So I do this. I break down, like, throughout the course, we combat the myth. Frozen food is our ally, like it's our friend. So usually it's picked, prepared, and harvested, picked, prepared, frozen really quickly. Like, they're not keeping it for days and days. They tend to pick, wash, harvest, freeze. So you will be getting a higher nutrient than if you and I go to Tesco's, buy the tomatoes from South America, and then leave them in our fridge for 5 days, and we're not using them straight away. Would people ask me, so then is it better when there's fresh food to, like, obviously try to consume it immediately, or if things lose nutrients when you chop them or keep them in the fridge. Is that bad? And I'm like, no, because if you buy food shopping on a Sunday and you chop and prep it and then you're using it throughout the week because it's there, it's accessible and it's ready, that is so much better in losing some of that nutrition than you not eating that fresh food and instead thinking, like, now, what do I eat? When you're rushed and you're stressed, you're going to buy something that's quick, easy, tasty. Those options are normally the high sugar, fat, salt variety, takeaway, long life. So if your vegetables are slightly less nutritious because you chop them and prep them on Sunday, but you're going to be more inclined to eat them, like, don't even think from that point of view. Just think, I'm still putting those nutrients into my body.
Yeah, and the effort to prepare, like, why would you let it go to waste,
Yeah.
Have it throughout the week.
Yeah. The tinned vegetables, we say try and pick things that are not salted or sweetened. Frozen vegetables, again, really healthy, nutritious, quick. Textures change. If you've got things in your fridge that you buy and you might not use them in the week, like straight away, freeze them. People can freeze bread, milk, eggs, dairy. My favorite one is freeze your mithai. If you get given like barfi, mithai, and you're just like, he's there, he's looking at me, he's there, he's looking at me. As soon as you get gifted it, freeze it. It's like 10 to 15 minutes it takes to defrost a piece. My husband's asking me what I want to eat. Yeah, sorry. Like, this is what's happening. We're like at dinner hour.
Wow.
So rather than feel you need to finish the pack of Sainsbury's cookies or the fresh batch of muffins you might have made, get into a habit of freezing, and you'll soon know, like with defrosting, you get used to the texture change and what works best and what doesn't. But microwaves, I mean, I don't personally, we don't have one, but we have one next door. Like, they can, like, you can use up so many things. Like, it's better than you feeling pressure all week to look at the bowl of cookies, look at the bag of muffins, right? And then feel that pressure to try and eat them.
Yeah, it's like, oh, before it expires, let's finish it up. So you become the bin.
Yeah, and I say this, you're not the human dustbin. This is why they have 2-for-1s. And, in the USA, it's cheaper to eat McDonald's than buy an avocado.
Why is that?
God, we could venture into conspiracy theories almost, but there's a lot of high markups for people on farms, smaller farms, to produce to farm fresh produce.
I heard that. that they don't get
and
any.
If you want to certify, if you want to certify as organic, you have bigger loopholes you need to jump through. So
they
corporate world
farmers.
corporate world doesn't really support small farms who have to really go hard to push their poor businesses. And then because the higher markups, they're sold at a higher price, some people don't even get themselves classified as organic because of the extra money that it costs to go through that process. So so you've got fresh produce, which can be harder to produce for small or businesses. That's why there's a lot of interest in Bill Gates now trying to buy up a lot of farmland. And then you've got places like McDonald's that can offer a Happy Meal for the same cost as an avocado. So what is a working family going to do? And typically, working families, migrant backgrounds, have got less disposable income just because their access to work, which we know the disparity between job allocation and work in the neighborhoods and things they will be having poorer food choices because that's what they can afford. So we see this even in the UK, that the BAME community, the migrant community, people of color have worse health outcomes, and their lifestyle choices compromise their longer term health. So we're constantly trying to mitigate that work which is, 99.99999% of the women that I work with are women of color. And it's a huge thing to be able to invest in our health, because we are people that don't access healthcare systems. If your parents' first language wasn't English, you would have avoided accessing healthcare systems. So you then kind of detach, and you might not even know what the right decisions for you are, because if they're telling us to eat chicken, rice and broccoli, whereas you and me need dal chol and dalka, right, for our gut bacteria.
Absolutely.
The conflicting advice becomes overwhelming, and then you just go to that easiest choice. Sugar, salt, fat. Sugar, salt, fat. He talks about that in Atomic Habits. It's, the tastiest thing will win, and we've become too proficient. It's become too easy to give ourselves what we want, that it becomes harder to work for the things that we know are better for us. Because what you want isn't always what's best for you.
That's so true. That is so true.
We look at it from the lens of immediate gratification, feels really good, quick, fast, easy, extra tequila, going home with someone that you shouldn't, gambling, placing an extra bet, eating the extra burrito. Immediate gratification really makes it hard with the human mind. Because long-term gratification, you got to keep working towards, with the habit stacking, to a result you're not going to see immediately. In yoga, you can't do a perfect downward dog in 5 days.
No.
You're not going to see the result. And to keep your mind engaged is the habit stacking. You've got to tap into what's going to make it attractive for me to stick at this. Incentivize, reward yourself, non-scale. So for me, if I show up and I do a forward fold with you and I can only get to my calf, next time I get a bit further, next time I get a bit further, I have to register. If I just keep telling myself, oh, I can't get to my toes, I'm not reaching my toes, I'm not reaching my toes, I will give up, because I don't get immediate gratification for a result that's going to take a longer term action.
I swear, it's like delayed gratification is almost non-existent, especially nowadays. Everything's instantaneous.
Everything. And food, and this is why it's so difficult for people, is one of the quickest things. So the number one feel good if you're feeling lonely is to call somebody you love. It's the proven way to feel better if you're struggling. But what is the first option? So the number one choice is chocolate. And studies show us this all the time. The number one, the best tool for transformation, gratitude, journaling, they're a part of it. Exercise, the number one tool for transformation is self-compassion, self-kindness.
I love that, because when people tell me I struggle to meditate, I was like, you need 3 ingredients to meditate: patience, consistency, compassion.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I love you. I hope you know that.
Because imagine, Deepa, when you sit and you remind people, your mind is going to wander, like it's a part of it. But you could then beat yourself up, like, why can't I meditate? I'm so crap at this. My mind starts thinking of other things. And now it's another thing that we've done wrong, another notch of why we want to quit, we want to give up. Whereas self-compassion would say, I tried that today. Like, I might give that a go tomorrow. Like, I showed up at class today. I'm going to try yoga next week. Like, I like this. Then eventually I'm like, oh, I'm going to sign up. I want to do this a bit more regularly. We were talking about something. So food becomes the easiest thing to break our psychology, because people know that we like sugar, salt, and fat. Everyone knows we like sugar, salt, fat, and we like immediate gratification. We want immediate reward. We are surrounded by access to everything now, 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 now.
Yeah.
Kids don't remember that we couldn't pause our food. We couldn't pause our shows. We waited to the ad break, went to the bathroom.
Oh my God. And they can't even sit through an ad. Like skip, skip, skip. And we had to sit through so many ads just to watch a 20-minute show.
I'm just seeing all the familiar faces popping up. Really excited about Free and having her Reiki for our event on the 17th of September.
Yes, she's gonna be on stage working her magic on everyone.
So,
What made you feel like you aligned with? Oh, sorry, finish what you were gonna say.
no, so I just want people to know that when you're in that moment and you go to the pantry and that's easiest, it's because we are programmed that way. And the food market knows this, so they've produced so many things in labs. You know, they wire us up, they get us a taste of Pringle, they know the perfect combination of crunch, smooth, soft. Then you add the sugar, salt, and fat, and that once you pop, can't stop. You're sat at home thinking, why do I binge? Why don't I stop? Why can't I just, eat a couple of chips and stop? And it's because they design it to get to that weak point in your mind, to give you that, immediate effect. It's the dopamine. It's our neurotransmitter of reward, reward, drive, drive, reward, drive, excite, reward, drive, which is where the addictions come from. Food, sex, alcohol, drugs, TV, gym, like fitness can be an addiction, a dysfunction.
You took
And
the
so
word
what
out of
people,
my mouth. Addiction.
yeah. So we want to be aware of why, and it's because it's giving the brain like 0.5 seconds for sugar to give you that, like 10 seconds for cocaine to do the same. 0.5 for sugar. So when you're lonely, you're sad, you're upset, you go to the fridge, because even though calling a friend's going to make you feel better, you feel you're going to inconvenience them. You think you're disturbing them, because you're not being self-compassionate to yourself. You're not giving yourself grace. Maybe your friend wants to be on the other side of that call to support you the way you would for them.
So true. So true.
But yeah, we're getting broken down.
Where should someone start? What are 3 tips that you would suggest that someone starts with? I work 60 hours a week, 50 hours a week. I rely on fast food. I rely on buying food from outside and
Yeah.
I don't have time to cook. So what would you say
So I
to someone
think
like me?
my first suggestion would be, and I think it was lovely the way we covered the part about frozen food, right? So if you're somebody that kind of has relied on takeaways, fast food, fridge food, oven food, like first, number one, please don't judge yourself. You're doing what is suiting your lifestyle. And until you know otherwise, you're doing what you know. And that's not a bad thing. So again, self-compassion. And with that in mind, you can now get some great pizza-based options that don't even have to be extortionate in price. You can get frozen pizza dough that you get to like sit at room temperature, roll out. But whatever way, you can buy a ready-made dough. You can use tomato puree tube, which lasts in the fridge for a long time. And then I sprinkle on mixed herbs or oregano, which gives it the flavor. So you could just be like, I want a pepperoni pizza, but I'm going to make a few steps towards making my own. Now that feels a bit more fresher and a bit more empowering. So tomato puree, oregano, slice some onions. You can use tinned sweet corn, a couple of frozen veggies, and then you can grate your cheese. And it just makes you feel better about making a more empowered choice that I made that. So now it's not your off-the-shelf pepperoni. Again, what if you're not ready for that? Because that still feels like a bit of work. Get your pepperoni pizza and slice a couple of veggies on top. So just add a few vegetables. We make tadka pizza. Like we do a jeera tadka with onions, with our vegetables. Then we put it on our
never
home
tried
base. And
that.
it's the best. Oh my God, Indian pizza is the best. Um, so if you are somebody that likes Indian food and you're trying to do that, like, don't be scared to do the fusion, like do a tadka of vegetables. It's a bit more, it's like softer because obviously we cook off the vegetables until they're soft, but it's such a lovely fusion mix. Like I do that with my pastas too. So just think about, rather than having to stop doing something, think about adding. So that's my second thing. Number one, modify your ready meal. If you're going to get an oven pizza, have a salad on the side. Buy a ready-made salad, it's fine. Do some frozen vegetables on the side. Add some frozen veggies on top. So you've already started adding to your choice with a healthier alternative. The second thing that I was going to say, which is completely gone, think of things as adding, not stopping. Don't tell yourself to stop behavior, like stop eating chocolate, stop eating pizza, stop ordering food, because the more you say that, the more likely you are going to persist in doing it. Just gonna.
Absolutely.
So rather than thinking I need to stop doing this, think, what could I add to this current behavior that I'm enjoying? The current takeaway I love, and that's the idea again, putting other bits into that with that. And split things. So if you are going to have, a takeaway or an oven pizza, split it. Count your chews. Time your meal. Take your time. Make an effort to slow down in that choice. I always say, think about your week as an overall, because if you focus just on that one moment, that pizza might be a part of a really overall balanced week. But because you kind of obsessed on that one action, you start thinking it's really bad. But if you step back, think about your overall week. Did you get enough of good enough? Did you have roti this week? Were there some times where you had, a sandwich and a salad? Did you make a salad even if you had a burger with it? Look at your overall week and then kind of like try to break it down. Like, is this pizza part of a healthy attitude towards eating versus trying to restrict myself? But yeah, frozen veg, tinned veg, low sugar, low salt varieties. They'll save you time, and you can just add them onto an existing mac and cheese, oven meal mac and cheese, and it almost immediately feels better.
So baby steps.
Then you get used to it. You're like, oh, I might buy a jar of mac and cheese sauce and some pasta. Now all of a sudden you're making the pasta and the mac and cheese sauce. Next step, oh, I might learn how to make a white mac and cheese sauce, but I might just buy the pasta that's ready made. You start ebbing towards it. Now that I've got this a good sauce recipe, all in one white sauce recipes, like some of them like 3 minutes, and I got the pasta right down, I might add some cauliflower, I might add some broccoli. What else would go nicely with that white sauce? So just think about really small steps. Don't think about, well, I'm going to meal prep for a week. I'm going to only eat salads. I'm only going to eat healthy food, because you set yourself up to fail. Habit stacking is, one day I'm going to try and modify my pizza. Oh, one day I'm going to try and make my own pizza, like with a ready-made base. Oh, one day I'm going to learn how to make the dough. So like you start to build up to it.
I love that. And you've given me so many ideas.
And for us, tadka, everything tastes better with tadka.
That's for sure. That's absolutely true. So that's 3.
I think so. There's loads. I threw loads in there.
Yeah, there was a lot more than 3. What's a book other than Atomic Habits that you feel like has changed your life?
Oh, so many.
What's one that comes to you?
Oh. Okay. I'm going to say Gabrielle Bernstein's The Universe Has Your Back. But the surrender experiment, it's a similar concept to trusting your intuition, trusting the signs. So, and that encourages slowing down, which you and I know you have to slow down to speed up. when you slow down, you can nourish yourself. You can meet your needs. You'll make better choices. Food, movement. 15 minutes. I wasn't going to pressure myself to do an hour. If I could do 15 minutes with the kids before jumping on with you, my son watched, he started doing his training. And it was like this knock-on effect. Surrender experiments will talk about this. The knock-on effect of not pressurizing and flowing. But another really good one is The Hungry Brain. Really similar to Atomic Habits. Super easy to read. And breaks down your physiology. Yeah, your physiology. Breaks down why we crave things, how we can trick ourselves away from that. Because I sit there and I'm eating a packet of crisps and I stop myself. I'm like, no, I've been mindful. I don't need it all. People find that mad. Like, you can stop eating halfway through a packet of crisps. I'm like, yeah. When you're distracted, you don't. You just...
No, exactly. Exactly. When you're not eating mindfully, you eat aimlessly. And
You
you're
know
never
how many
content.
things you say to us when we practice with you around, like, don't judge. When we do the bend forward, notice it without judgment. Notice which side, notice the difference. And I think people need to hear that again and again.
I know I do. I know I do, because for some reason it's just so much easier to go into criticism or to put yourself down, the down talk, no matter how positive you are, but it does require a lot of work to really shift, step back, and go into observer mode.
Yeah. We are in a world promoting perfection. Like I said, perfect Buddha bowls, perfect workout, perfect meals, perfect family, perfect day out. And I
But
love
there's no
Insta
such
versus
thing as
reality.
perfect. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
And the more we embrace our imperfections, the more we embrace that if I'm going to work out with the kids running around and I'm not going to do a perfect 15 minutes and I'm not going to follow it through to perfection, but I got there, I showed up, I did this, oh, I might have learned something new, the more likely we are to try it again and again.
So true. What made you feel like you aligned with the event in September, the Quantum Wellbeing and Lifestyle event?
I'm nervous. I'm so nervous about it, but I'm so, like, that's excitement. So nerves and excitement are the same physiological response in our bodies. So I intentionally told you about surrender experiment, the surrender experiment, and the universe has your back, even though there's still a little Western lens and yoga, Ayurvedic practice, has all of that, right? We had access to this before these books and the Western lens told us.
1000%.
And
1000.
that's the thing with this event. It encapsulates holistic health through those practices that go back before science, before the Western lens, right? And I think that's really important for us to remember that we are born into, we've had access to this in the East, for hundreds, thousands of years.
True.
So for me, when I saw the farmers' protests and you saw these really humble families fighting for something they believed in, sleeping in conditions that we would be like, oh, matha take to the roti. And I understood, wow, so I'm calling it intuitive eating. This is really mind-body connect. If I could offer that to people, like, why do they do matha take to their body, like to their roti? Because they know, the value of where the grain came from, the process it's going to be now, it's going to go through digestion. They eat what they need, like there was such a humble simplicity in their approach that I was like, whoa. So all this stuff I'm learning over here about intuitive eating is
It's being
It's us,
practiced.
and it's like East. Yeah. So yeah, there was no doubt in my mind that I want to share that with people, how we can have that every day at home within our lives. And I want to be part of the talks. I want to watch and
I'm
listen.
telling you, when you spoke for the Circle of Shala, well, first of all, when you speak, people listen. But when you did that masterclass for the Circle of Shala, I was blown away. Blown away.
It's my favorite thing to do, and every eating experience can bring something new to you and your awareness. Even if you're somebody that is struggling and you have the same sandwich and salad every day at lunchtime, I challenge you to put the phone away and just chew, bite, and count. And the same sandwich can taste different 3 different times in the week.
So
You'll
true.
pick up a different flavor, texture, and I want people to learn the enjoyment of eating again, how fun food can be and nourishing and not something you have to be afraid of.
Yeah, I think many people out there are, you know, they have to be either on one extreme or the other, and that's not healthy. That's not intuitive.
Yeah.
If you want that piece of chocolate, have it, but have it like it's the last thing you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And when you're doing the last thing that you'll do, you'll take your time.
So today's the Lion's Gate, right? 8th of the 8th, and so I was just thinking about my intentions. We think about what we want to bring more of into our lives, and one of the things I recognize not often enough is we think we have so much time. Isn't it Buddha who said one of the mistakes that we make is that we think we've got so much time? And so for me, one of the intentions was to appreciate that time, not to assume we have so much. So even the idea of eating that chocolate like it is your last piece, the last thing you might eat, you're not going to do that all day, but there are pockets in your day where you can treat it that way.
Exactly. Like you could choose one meal a day to give it your all, eat mindfully. You can turn off the phone, be it breakfast, be it lunch, be it dinner, but start off with one meal. And if you genuinely don't even have time for you to do that for a meal, at least with a snack. Baby steps. Wow.
Yeah.
What are you offering now if somebody wants to work with you or reach out to you? What are you
I'm going to
doing?
post it. So I'm doing my 10-week, which is open to people to join at any time. So tonight I've got a whole graduation for the ladies that are finishing. There is so much. There's lessons, laughter, tears. Like it's a fully immersive experience, and it's 10 weeks because it's for that person that really wants to get underneath that story, the triggers, and it's holistic. It's not just what you're eating. We look at your whole life spectrum and reducing pockets of stress and moving towards what lifts you and channeling into who you are. Reminding women of our divine feminine connection, our God, like it's not just that we're told everything's perfect, you're told you need to be fixed and you need to change. And the 10 weeks really focuses on how you are already enough. Then the gentle nutrition. So I teach a lot of what I've shared about how to use frozen food to your benefit, tinned food, how to save time on meals, but not cutting on nutrition. How to have junk food and processed food as a part of healthier attitude to eating. So it's 10 weeks. I'm going to post about it on my Instagram next. And it will be, this is the last time it will go at that price, because September's a really popular month for me because it's the end of the year. People really like to go, they like to end their year strong. I mean, they're probably already thinking 2023. They've probably got, people have already booked their holidays, right? Because we're out of lockdown now and people are planning ahead. So yeah, just DM me. It's not the only option to work with me. I do multiple options. I work around client needs. So yeah, and then you can see what we've got going on as my challenge at the moment. I post around that, and that will be open up again in September.
I know, I have to say, you go all in, and whoever comes under or shows up to your program, you go above and beyond with them because you're all about getting to the root. You're all about working on the source. So for those of you who want to be more mindful about how you eat, why you eat the way you eat, you want to clear the junk, the unnecessary, the gook out of your eating habits, I highly recommend Ravneet. So thank you for this. Thank you so much for your time, your knowledge. You're such a gift to this world.
I love doing this. I'm going to be at 9 o'clock yoga tonight too, so I'll be seeing my Shala sisters.
Thank you so much
for bringing yoga in my life.
Thank you for showing up. I know you were a Pilates girl, and I'm so glad that you not that you left Pilates, but yeah, you've shifted. And I would never stop anyone from doing what they're already doing, but I would always say add yoga to your well-being because it's only going to enhance your experience, your journey. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, being kind, find what works, and then stacking on top of that.
Exactly. Oh, thank you.
Don't hate yourself into it. It won't work. See you tonight, Deepa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming. Bye, Simone.